I feel like I could relate so much. I could relate so much to so many things. Like Chimamanda has a way of just putting my thoughts into words in ways that I've never really just known that I could kind of think, if that makes any sense. Hi there, my name is Kacha as always, and today I am going to be doing a book review on Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Do you know I'm Igbo and I can't even say that name in one full stretch, but I'm going to be doing a review of her book called Americanah. And let me tell you, I don't know if for some reason this book took me too long to read. I think I read it in like 2 months, which is just ridiculous. Now this book is based on the main character Ifemelu, and it goes through her life from kind of like secondary school education. Ifemelu was born and raised in Lagos, Nigeria, where she grew up, and it goes through like the story of her friends, her school, her auntie Uju. Honestly, it's kind of like a family relative that grew up in their house, but she went through uni and everything and ended up having an affair with a Nigerian general. This Nigerian general now died, and she, being the mistress, didn't have any access to any money or anything, because he really didn't set her up for when if he died, he kind of was just having a kind of like an affair with her. But they had a son, and it was a bit of a messy situation. She had to travel abroad for the safety of her and her son. But Ifemelu goes through like Ifemelu herself, her story of her family, her mom and her dad. She had like a high school boyfriend, Obinze. But as things were going, they were having a couple of strikes in Nigeria, as they normally do. Nigerian universities are forever on strike. She did like a scholarship examination to study in the US, so she did that, and then she got the scholarship. I think it was like 70% scholarship to study in the US, and so there she went. Now her boyfriend at the time was fascinated by the US, Obinze, so they had a plan that they were going to still be in touch when they were in the US, and they had a plan he was going to come over, something like that. But then the book then follows through. They're now in the US, really struggling to find a job. The struggle is real. Struggling to find a job and so many things, and it got to a point where she was so broke she did something really disgusting. I don't say really disgusting, it was really desperate, to be fair. She thought it was disgusting, that's the way the book put it. Like, she couldn't really stand herself afterwards. She basically met like this guy who was a full-time pervert, who kind of said, you know, he wanted to do some things to her, and give her like $100 each time, because it was apparently meant to help him relax, which is really stupid. But she was so broke. The first time she won, she was like, the first time she went, she was like, there's no way in hell I am going to be here, like, nope. But then she got so broke, none of the jobs she was applying for were calling her back. She was just like, you know what, she went to his house, did the deed, and then came back with $100. But she hated herself, and she hated that she betrayed her boyfriend, long distance boyfriend now, Obinze, in Nigeria. And she kind of just shut them out. She was going through really a lot of, she went through a lot, to be fair. But anyway, because Ifemelu felt so bad what she'd done, she stopped talking to her boyfriend Obinze. She ended up saying, she actually, which pained me, after she did that thing with the guy, the next week she got the job, one of the jobs that she applied for before. So which was so annoying, because like, for me that was kind of like a little message. It's like, sometimes what you're waiting for is literally just behind, it's like kind of like just behind the door, and you just need to have a bit more patience. But anyway, she ended up she was babysitting, which is kind of like a classic job. So where she was babysitting, she fell in love with I think it was their cousin, like the baby's cousin, Kurt. And this guy, like, he was so rich and everything. It was obviously a white guy. He was so rich, and it went through their relationship and how she felt like he could literally like do anything for her. Like, they went everywhere, they did so many different things. But I could feel like, even the way the book was, I think maybe the book was describing how she was like feeling at the time, I could feel that she wasn't happy with the relationship, because I wasn't happy with the relationship, okay? I was just like, he was perfect, he was a perfect guy, he was really nice, he treated her nice and everything, but I could just sense that she wasn't happy, and she wasn't, because she cheated on him. Started seeing another guy who wasn't white this time, was a black American guy. Yet the same thing again, their relationship, the guy was really good, was a good guy, you know, he was a professor or a lecturer, one of them, at Yale. So it was like the ideal, and he had like really woke friends and everything like that, so it was good as well. But I could just tell that, especially because the book started with the fact that she broke up with him, so I think when I was reading about the relationship, I could just see everything that was wrong with it rather than like just seeing it from a different perspective. One thing I like about the book is like, as it was going through it, like even with her relationship with Kurt, it was going through like how she felt about some certain things, how she had to explain some certain things to him, how she hated the fact that he could kind of just make a phone call and next thing you know she has a job, and they would go to London, they would go to like Paris, they would go to like all these different fancy places. I was like, I don't know what you're doing, but please just respect yourself and stay there. But I could tell she wasn't happy because she had kind of shut off her boyfriend Obinze in Nigeria, cut him off completely. So yeah, that was interesting. And then she decided all of a sudden that she was going to pack up her life and just leave. She had a blog where she blogged about race and was making her a lot of money. She packed up the blog and she was like, I'm giving up, I'm going. Bye, I'm going back to Nigeria. On the other side of things was Obinze. He graduated, went through university in Nigeria. He graduated and he just really wasn't happy. He was trying to get like an American visa, but like a lot of people would recognize the story is that you will try and die. To get American visas in Nigeria is really, really difficult. And he went through the same time. He just wasn't happy, so his mom kind of did a thing where she helped him to get to the UK on a 6-month visa. But the plan was for him to overstay the visa and try and find a way to, you know, get like a job there and stay there kind of permanently. He started doing so many different jobs, and he got to a point where he was going to pay someone to get married to this girl, so he could get like a passport, which is something that quite a lot of people do. I totally disagree with it. I don't agree with it at all. I always think it's not deep. And I think one of the things that the book mentioned is that he had privilege, like in terms of like where he grew up. He wasn't poor, he was just unhappy with being back home. It wasn't that he was from a place where he was struggling. You know, he had breakfast in the morning, he went to a really good school, he just wanted to live abroad. But on the day when he was going to get married to the girl that was going to help him get his passport, he basically got caught by the police and he got deported. And it was really sad. It was really, really sad. I don't know why. I could just really feel that fear. It's kind of like that fear. It's like that immigration fear. You know, it's real. It's real. Let me tell you something. It's very real. But yeah, he got deported, and what was interesting is when he went back to Nigeria, he kind of hit his luck and he became a big man, you know, big man. He became very wealthy by association with a lot of people and started getting contracts and stuff like that. And then Ifemelu on her own side, she closed her blog, she came back to Nigeria. When Obinze became a big man in Nigeria, he got married to wife Kosi Sochukwu, something like that. And then he had a child, and the relationship, I think the way the book painted the relationship as well was that like he wasn't really happy. His wife was perfect, apparently, according to the book. Like she was stunning, perfect cheekbones, everything, but he wasn't happy. Even with things, I think the way the book said, when like she had a girl, her first child was a girl, as soon as the baby came out, she was like, oh, don't worry, we'll try for a boy next time. And it was like, he wasn't like that. So he wasn't into that whole, oh, I'm looking for a boy. He wasn't about that life, and she didn't understand that. So she was just trying to be the perfect wife, you know, all her skincare on point, you know, all her I can imagine how weave would have been like on point. But yeah, he wasn't happy with the relationship either. He just got married to her because she was there, and that was what the book said. And I think it's really interesting because I remember reading something on Twitter about how apparently guys get married to whoever is available, not who they really like. And that was interesting how, now reading this in this book, this was what happened. And I'm like, is that really true? Like, do people not really get married to who they like? I would hope they do, but hey. When Ifemelu came back to Nigeria, she for a time, you know, didn't speak to Obinze. She eventually told him she was back, and he left his wife for her. In a nutshell, they were having an affair for a while, and then he just gave up and I'm not happy with this woman, so he left his wife. But some of the things I wanted to highlight about this book that made me really think, and one of them was that, I'm just going to read the line. This was when she was with her boyfriend Kurt, who was like the adventurer, the rich adventurer, right, Oibo guy. And she was like, the book says he was always thinking of what else to do, and she told him that it was rare for her because she had grown up not doing but being. And this is something that, oh my god, I can relate to so much, because I feel like here, because life is so, I don't want to say there isn't any struggles, but like life is so smooth, like you have to be actively doing something to enjoy life. I don't know if that makes sense. So you have people who are always traveling and going on holiday. You have people who, like, you must have a hobby. My boyfriend Kurt was always traveling somewhere. He was wanting to do something. He was one of them to, you know, and I'm looking at it from like this perspective of being here. It's like, oh my god, that's great. But then I could understand where Ifemelu was coming from when she was saying that how can she explain that she'd never really grown up doing things. Trying to explain that to people can be a bit difficult, but I think Chimamanda is the first person that really explained that in a way that makes sense, if that makes sense. I had a conversation with someone on Facebook, and she was saying that she thinks that Ifemelu's character is anti-feminist, and wants to have a sit down with Chimamanda about this, because Chimamanda is like a renowned feminist. I think Ifemelu's character is feminist because she is not your stereotypical woman. She cheated on her boyfriend, she would go and then went on to have an affair with another guy. She broke up with a guy in a relationship that's perfect. It's like, I think women are kind of expected to just accept any relationship that they get given. If the guy has kwashiorkor, take it. If the guy has epilepsy, take it like that. If he's ugly, take it anyhow. So for her to leave Kurt, who was a perfect man, it just, for her to leave him, it was like, girl, you are something else. Aisha said that I think she has evil spirits. The evil spirit that her mom kept complaining of in the book, I think that evil spirit is within her. She needs prayer, she needs Jesus. I think most of the time when I've read this book as well, like most people, like when I've heard about this book, sorry, most people have said that oh, that they can't believe that Ifemelu was cheating. It's like, was cheating with Obinze. I'm like, Obinze was the one who went ahead and married someone else, knowing that he had really strong feelings for Ifemelu. I'm like, women always have a way of blaming other women when guys cheat. I really liked her relationship with Obinze, so for me his wife was just like a distraction. It's really bad for me to say that. Obviously I don't accept the fact that he cheated, but I was more mad at him because I know that he had, even I was like, when he married, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I was like, he had really strong feelings for Ifemelu, and he should have respected that and known that he wasn't happy with his wife to marry her. He just married her because she was the kind of girl I feel like he wouldn't have expected to have, because she was so like up there and perfect and everything, and I feel like he just married her just for the sake of that. Obinze was the one that cheated. So I do not understand for the life of me why every single time when anyone talks about this book, it's like, oh, Ifemelu like made Obinze cheat. She did not come back. She went back to Nigeria and ended up he ended up staying with her, but like, he was the one who was in a committed relationship. He was the one who was cheating on his wife. So I don't know. Well, I think Ifemelu is very stubborn, and if you know me, you know why I like her. So yeah, I don't know. I think the book is interesting, and Chimamanda, she knew what she was doing when she wrote this book. And I'm not saying it's good to cheat on your partner. I'm not saying it's good to have an affair with a married man. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying that she was just complicated. She was different. Kosi, Obinze's wife, Kosi Sochukwu, yeah, she is like the person, I think she's like kind of like a stereotypical woman, you know, you're meant to be a good wife, you're meant to be doing this and doing that, and Ifemelu is just a bit crazy. And so yeah, but another really interesting character was Auntie Uju, Ifemelu's family member, who, well, as I mentioned earlier, she came to the US, and it was really interesting how she went through a phase where she was so desperate to be with a man. She had ended up marrying this really stupid guy who I was, even from reading the book, I was just like, how can you? But I don't know, I think she's always been consumed, the way the book painted it, she was always been consumed with the idea of marriage, which I believe most Nigerian women are, but never mind as well. She was always really consumed with the idea of marriage and, you know, what you have to do to get married, or my time is running here, my time is not running, and all that kind of stuff. But I think I was so happy when she got her groove back, because she got to a point where I think it was like the slightest thing that the guy that she got married to in the end did. I think he left a blob of toothpaste in the sink, and she was just like, you know what, I'm done. She moved out. But she was already sick of him, like for a time. So I was so happy about like how she changed and how she developed. But another really sad part of the book was when you know how I said she had a baby for the Nigerian general. The boy grew up, and he became suicidal. He tried to kill himself, and I think that was really, it was really real. because I feel like her mom, like his mom, didn't really do much to fill in kind of like that father figure. Especially, she never really told him that she was his dad's mistress. She never really explained what she did with his dad, and then she ended up just getting with a random guy who really didn't care for him, because the book never really explained why he decided to commit suicide or attempt suicide. I think when Ifemelu decided to close her blog and pack up her things and go, I could relate. I don't want to say I could relate to that as well, but I could understand, because I think, yes, fair enough, like being here is great, but there is like a fundamental something, I don't know, it just feels like there's something missing. So I could understand the fact that it seemed crazy. And I remember in the book when she went to a salon and said she was leaving, like the girl doing her hair was like, you are what? But yeah, I could understand that. I think that would probably be intensified or by like increased, if that makes sense. What word? I say I can't speak English. I've been made worse by the fact that she had a love interest in Nigeria. But even without that, I feel like there is this, like, you know how they say home is home? Like, it never really made sense to me until like you live here. So I could understand her decision to do that. It was really such an interesting book. I think every person trying to understand what's like being in the diaspora should read the book. I think everybody should read a book. It gives you a lot of information about things that people don't talk about, and it's not like a great big thing. It's like the little details, like and it's really a difficult book to do a review for. And I think it talks, yet again, I don't know, I feel like this has been a thing in all the books I've been reading, a lot about race and understanding race, understanding even what it means to be black. Because I think one of the things that she talked about was the fact that there's something that I also feel strongly about, that I did not know that I was black for such a long time in my life, and that's something I'm going to make a video on another day. Sorry for another day. It's not too like intense in terms of like suspense and everything. There's a bit like some moments here and there where I was just like especially when Dike, her anti-Jewish child, attempted suicide, when she cheated on Kurt. I did not see that one coming at all. When Obinze got deported, that was deep. If I'd rate it anything, it's probably like a 7 out of 10, if I'm gonna be honest. So it's a great book. Do yourself a favor, out of my ramblings, if any of these things make sense, grab yourself a copy. It's a good book. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you some other time. Bye.